It's Inside Tennessee. We are back with Dr. Richard Briggs and Bryan Langan. So let's shift now. There's a whole lot we could talk about for a full hour that's going on in the state of Tennessee, but there is a big one that sort of happened as a result of the United States Supreme Court decision this summer, Roe v. Wade, which immediately sort of let go into effect the so-called trigger law for Tennessee. And I think we want to talk to both of the candidates about that. Bryan Langan, I'm curious your thoughts. As a Democrat, you maybe differ with Dr. Briggs on this one. That may be stating the obvious. But what do you want to see happen if you go into the Tennessee legislature, or just even if you don't? What should the legislature be doing in terms of a woman's right to reproductive health care?
I believe the bill should be repealed. I can't believe that our legislature, and a doctor in particular, passed a complete abortion ban without exceptions, and it needs to be completely repealed, and the right to privacy and bodily autonomy needs to be restored to the women and girls of Tennessee. And when it comes to any backpedaling on exceptions or anything like that from our legislatures, including Senator Briggs, I challenge anyone to go back and watch the vote on the state website and see them talking about how they wanted this to be the bill to overturn Roe v. Wade. How when Senator Gilmore brought up amendments 2 and 3 that made exceptions for rape, aggravated rape, and incest. 2 was for every woman and girl in Tennessee, and 3 was for at least the minors of Tennessee. And not at one point did Senator Briggs or any other Republican stand up and fight for that for either of those amendments. What they did was all vociferously in a voice vote, which I think needs to be reformed to actual votes, voted nay against both of them, and then passed the bill. I am endorsed by Tennessee Advocates for Planned Parenthood. As far as I know, Senator Briggs is a member of, I think, and endorsed by Tennessee Right to Life. So I think there's a very clear difference between us on who will actually fight for the rights of the women and girls in our state.
Thank you. Dr. Briggs, I think if I'm reading the legislative page correctly, you had been a co-sponsor of the Human Life Protection Act, but now we're sort of saying, it maybe needs to be fixed, because certainly we've heard some of the criticism that Mr. Langan says that there are really no exceptions. There's what's called an affirmative defense once a provider like a doctor is charged, but that's a whole different legal issue. There is no sort of protections, and I'm wondering if you're thinking we need to fix that in some regard.
Well, I do think we need to fix that. And, you have to know a little bit of the history about when that was. That bill was passed 3 years ago. It was not the law in Tennessee. It was what we call a trigger bill in the event that Roe versus Wade is passed. I don't know if anyone at the time knew whether it was going to be passed or not. But as a physician, I want to say, how can a physician not be pro-life? I think that's part of the essence of being a physician. I do think there's problems with the bill that we have now. First of all, just as you mentioned, that terminating a pregnancy for any reason, even if it's for the life of the mother, the doctor is guilty if a prosecutor, a district attorney decides to charge the doctor, and then, unlike it is in most criminal justice cases, the doctor has to prove his innocence. I think we need to completely change that to where the DA would have to show that the doctor committed a felony or did something wrong. The second thing is we need to totally separate what I call the medical needs of the mother from the question of terminating pregnancies or performing abortions for birth control or gender selection, or to harvest a baby or to harvest a fetus, let me say, to be used for medical research. I absolutely would support legislation that would say that a termination of pregnancy can occur. Now, these are medical reasons, can occur if the life of the mother is in danger, if there's going to be damage to major organ systems, if major damage to the mother's health. I think also if there are severe deformities of the fetus, particularly if the fetus cannot survive outside the womb, I just don't think there are still risks to pregnancy that she should be forced to carry a child with severe deformities the whole term. And you don't want to forget that also that the moment that a woman becomes pregnant, she also becomes a parent. So the parent needs to be able to make what they think are the best medical decisions for their child, even if the child's unborn. And then also you have the instances of rape and incest that I think that many people feel should be is just nothing but also a punishment for the woman. So those are several things that I would like to see changed in the bill. I don't think that we should be doing abortions for the convenience, because it's an inconvenient situation. I don't think we should be doing abortions for gender selection. I don't think we should be doing abortions for I don't think we should be doing them to harvest fetal material to be able to use for research, such as in stem cell research. I want to add something that I've not heard anyone talk about, that if we do terminate a pregnancy because of rape or incest, I think it should be the law that material is DNA tested and recorded, so we can catch the perpetrator and punish the perpetrator who may be a rapist, or if incest is involved, that person can be punished the full extent of the law if a woman becomes pregnant due to that.
We've got to take a break. We'll be back. It's Inside Tennessee.